think we know enough about the human brain to be fucking around with it with all these synthetic chemicals. That's my opinion.
Well, I mean, I think it's okay. People do whatever the fuck they. I mean, that part doesn't bother me. I mean, the fact that no one is acknowledging what this is really a symptom of is the fact that our lives are a mediocrity. They suck. They are not. We are worse off than zoo animals. We're living a worse life than a zoo animal. I mean, we have to fight for our food.
Well,
we have
I'm
to
happy,
fight
Gary.
for our
I'm
shelter.
happy.
We have to commit acts. Well, you can be as happy as you fucking want. Like I said, you go ahead and go watch some documentary films on the bombs we dropped in Hiroshima and then talk about how fucking happy you are. And that's just fucking fine. Go watch some slaughterhouse films and see the billions of animals we torture every fucking year. Go watch some medical lab experiments. We got fucking electrodes inside a fucking great ape's brain and then talk about how fucking happy you are. Go find out how many mice we kill every fucking year, okay, and talk about how fucking happy you are. Well, I'm saying if you're fucking happy, you might as well be Mengele and tell me how you're happy because you made a nice lampshade out of a Jew, okay? But it's the same motherfucking thing. I think you're a sick motherfucker if you can say, I'm happy with this world. I'm happy with the way we are living. Then you're a sick motherfucker, in my opinion.
Thinking that the suicide rates will increase, you know, if assisted suicide or euthanasia is legal. This, like I said, is just speculation, has no basis. It's just what you think, okay? And you know, you can't really form an opinion just going with that and ignoring everything else. You know, for instance, the majority of people who would want to die but can't, like the people who are paralyzed, for instance, and you know, their families are keeping them alive and all they have left is trying to starve themselves. There are many cases of that, you know, just trying desperately to commit suicide and not being able to because your family thinks that, you know, 5 years from now there would be some amazing technology that would make you walk again, or people who are in coma and so on. And you cannot put a limit on it, okay? If you make assisted suicide legal, it has to be legal for everyone. Otherwise, whatever boundaries you would put on it, if you have to be terminal or if you have to be mentally incapacitated, I don't know, whatever boundaries you put to it, there would still be victims. There would still be people who would try to commit suicide and end up, you know, burned victims or end up paralyzed, or you simply have to make it legal. This is, you know, the only way you can.
Why not be honest? Why not be fucking honest and just say, okay, look, the minimum standard is that you have to be able to say, I want to live. Is that really asking too much from us genetically or psychologically or intellectually, that we utter the words, I want to live, and then when we can't utter those words anymore, then okay, we can die? I mean, what is the big fucking deal? If you think life is so fucking marvelous, why are you afraid to put it to that simple test? Oh, that's right, because it is suck. And you can't keep your slaves in slavery. You can't keep people in their mediocrity and their shit if they have a freedom. And that's why you're afraid of freedom. Because they will put it to you. They will make you look like the asshole that you are, the sadistic, motherfucking, insensitive piece of shit that you are. It will be demonstrated. Because the real human being will step out and say, you're right, this is shit. And I'll die before I'll live it. When I have a free choice to say, fuck you, I will say, fuck you and your sick, disgusting, putrid, garbage society.
Well, for instance, if I had my way in the emotional condition you're in now, I would take away your right to commit suicide because
fuck
you.
Fuck you! I'd shoot you in the fucking head. How about that? If I had the fucking right, I'd pull my gun out and shoot you in the fucking head because you're a cunt. You're a fascist fucking cunt. Die, asshole. I can't wait till the fucking Civil War starts.
Gary, when is the Civil War starting?
Well, who the hell knows? I mean, I thought it was going to start about 6 years ago, so I'm still fucking goddamn waiting. I got a whole bunch of rocks in my backyard. I've been collecting my fucking rocks. I'm ready for the fucking war.
war would start when Bush got reelected? Is that what you're getting at?
Well, pretty much. God, I hated that guy.
You kick Spaz?
I'm glad he's gone, Gary. I'm glad he's gone. I think it's better for everybody that he's not there anymore.
Well, whatever, it doesn't matter. I mean, as soon as he starts saying, if I had the power, I would declare you too depressed or too emotional or too something else, and I would take away your fucking rights. What a fucking cunt.
That is pretty fucked
That's the only
up.
part of the debate where I think he crossed the line was where he was telling you what you could do or not do. I thought everything else was fair debate, but yeah, I agree
Well,
with you.
how can somebody judge it again? What is his judgment that he is going to tell me what I must value? So if I get upset because somebody stepped on a bug, he's going to tell me I'm not allowed to be upset? I mean, what's his standard? I mean, it's just so fucking bogus, these fucking assholes who think they can tell somebody else what they should see when they look at this shit. At least without articulating
on the bug and,
I mean, make the argument. But he didn't make an argument. He didn't say, well, life has so much chocolate cake in it that you have no right not to appreciate because it has so much chocolate cake in it. But he didn't even say that.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if I want to get back on the whole SSRI topic, but man, there's a tremendous, powerful vested interest in keeping this chaostrophe clusterfuck going, and definitely the pharmaceutical industry is in on it. I think as Zomgits Chris says, they're drugging millions of people, and the fact that millions of people are unhappy, are that unhappy that they need to be put on drugs like people were lobotomized in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. That's a clear indicator that something is wrong. Something is seriously wrong here. That just didn't happen 50, 100 years ago. So, I don't know if I'm qualified to give a clinical
Well, I think it
diagnosis.
did happen, though, to tell you the truth. I just think that people commit suicide in a very different way now. But I was thinking about that the other day. I mean, what would compel somebody to get into one of those old civil wars or something, where you're just standing there and the other guy's standing there and you're 100 feet away and you just start throwing cannonballs at each other and shit and you just stand there and take it? I'm right here, target. Go ahead, shoot at me. You have to be pretty much who the fuck cares, right? And just think of the medieval days, where they charged each other with pitchforks and shit. I mean, you really got to give a shit about your life to do that, right? I mean, how much do you have to not give a damn, to get in that kind of a war? And so I think people were incredibly hopeless, and they just died in wars. They just said, okay, yeah, there's a war today? Yeah, I'm going today because I'm really sick of this shit.
Actually, that is a really good point, and that reminds me of something. I think you're onto something there, because prior to World War II, the depression rate in England was huge. I mean, it was off the charts. And once the war started, the depression rate fell to almost nothing. And they interviewed a number of people, and they said, yeah, man, during the I think they call it the Blitz, during the height of the bombing, they said, man, I never felt so alive. Those were the best days of my life, or our lives. So people felt really, oddly enough, I don't know how to say it, they felt good about the war, the fact that they were in this struggle with death. Yeah, so you may be onto something there about the Civil War and people wanting to put themselves in harm's way. I think there's something to that.
Yeah, well, I mean, if there's nothing to live for, then at least it's good to have something to die for, right? So I guess that's what it comes down to. I guess that's what I'm arguing. But I mean, life has been miserable before, and I'm just saying, if people had antidepressants in the past, they probably would have gotten addicted to them. I mean, there's a lot of people using morphine, different things. So I mean, it's not like the past is some sort of pure environment where everybody was just, no alcoholism, everyone was just fine. No, there was a lot of people not fine.
So it's just now that we have the technological and biological infrastructure to treat these people that we're just now becoming aware of it. I guess is your point. That's what you're driving at.
Well, it's an access issue. You know what I'm saying? We have access. They didn't have access. Just think if they had, liquor stores in every corner and all that. You know what I'm saying? So, I'm just saying that, So, yeah, we have this medical industrial complex. We have these pharmaceuticals. We have all this stuff. So we use them. And I'm sure they would have abused them in their day, too.
Yeah, there's an HBO series called Band of Brothers, and one of the characters in this series, just stays, I think he's a lieutenant or something, he just stays perpetually drunk throughout the entire thing, actually to the point of breaking into street front liquor stores and wine shops for booze. I don't know, maybe not a here nor there point.
I don't know what people need docks means, but whatever. There's a couple empty docks there. I can see them. But it's not much I can do about it, fella. I'll switch windows just for the fun. There you go.
So I
yeah.
can see that you're being compared to Dr. Mengele again, like last week. And geez, we haven't even got to the hardcore 155 millimeter howitzer topic of modest population control. But yeah, any time you get to that right to die stuff, people just they do not respond well, put it that way, or logically.
Yeah, well, they respond with mush, though. It's like, oh, I have so much to do, somebody said. Well, what do you got to do? And what do you got to do that's going to make any sense in the context of understanding your addictive psychology? Yes, you have to satisfy your addictive little string. You have to play out your little bullshit that's been played out, millions of times before. And it's just, what is, there's no accomplishment here. And because you think there is, well, that's fine. But why would you want anybody else to hang around if they don't think so? If they can see it for what it is and it's just a waste of their time, why would you oblige them to hang around? It's just kind of silly. You got 7 billion people on Earth. It's not enough people? You can't afford to sacrifice 1 million or 2 to suicide? Come on. Grow up.
Yeah, this idea of measuring value in terms of the number of zeros that we add to the human race, that's boy, I don't know who thought of that one. That was brilliant. Not. Yeah, this other thing you were talking about, nature being out of her mind. And I know when you say that, I understand that you're not talking about nature. You're talking about it in a highly abstract, metaphorical sense. You don't actually believe, at least I don't think, that nature is a Gaian entity, a she, right? Perhaps that's obvious, doesn't even need to be said or clarified, but I presume that you don't mean that. You're just using nature because it's a convention of speech.
Well, I don't know. I think I can smell its cunt. Yes, I believe I can. I can smell nature's cunt. Yeah, no. Yes, no, nature is not a cunt. Yeah, no, literally. It's, just a force. Forces.
You're right. There's no error correction mechanism involved. She seems to. Again, I'm using the word she. Please don't think that I believe there's an actual she out there, but just a convention of speech. She seems to create indiscriminately, and she also seems to be an indiscriminate executioner, both. So it's like a mother giving birth to her children and then stuffing them in the trunk and running the car into a lake. There really doesn't seem to be much logic to it, let alone compassion or consciousness of what pain and suffering mean.
Yeah, well, the only logic is the logic of fitness. So yeah, by that standard. And so yes, so as long as you have some idea that somehow it makes sense to have a competition, as long as you can see this hill in the middle of Iwo Jima as being valuable, well, then you can make sense out of it, because, oh yeah, well, it's making the most fit thing, So you know, that makes sense. But yeah, if you understand that it's a stupid competition, and the competition's really about who has the biggest teeth,